Hi, friends. Welcome back to the channel. I'm really excited about today's episode. We are talking about self talk. Self talk is one of my favorite topics recently because I think it's just the core of everything that's important in my world of confidence. And we're just going to do an overview, a deep dive, my thoughts. I don't know. That's what we're going to do. To kick you off, though, have you guys ever seen the TikToks where someone is in the streets of New York and they ask you basically how much rent you pay and then also what's the best advice you've ever gotten or have for someone? I have thought about the advice that I would say if someone from TikTok pulled me over on the streets and was like, "What's the best advice?" It's this. It's that the easiest way to change your life is to change your self-talk. I fully believe that, and I'm kinda like, "Mic drop, turn the podcast off." But I have seen that to be true for myself. I've seen it to be true for my clients. I've seen it to be true in so many instances, and let's just talk about it because changing my self-talk is the best thing I have ever done for myself. So what I really want to go through today is just defining self-talk so we are, we're on the same page. Why it really matters and the things that I think you really have to do to overcome it and really change your self-talk. The thing I will say is that my goodness, I have worked in the field of self-talk for so long now. Obviously, going on my own confidence journey, becoming a confidence coach, working with women around the world, and I have noticed that there's about, there's a process to it. There's a process to changing your self-talk. And I think everyone on a conscious level knows, yeah, we need to have good self-talk. But I don't think people know how to change it. Otherwise, you would. If you knew how to change your self-talk, you would. That's all I'm saying. And I don't think anyone really teaches how to change your self-talk. And so, we're just going to do an overview now. I have a whole big section in Audacious, my course that is all about changing how you feel about yourself and becoming unrecognizably confident. Because when you do that, you'll go after every single thing you want in life. And that's what the whole course is about is you just becoming that version who's so confident, who puts herself out there, who goes after what she wants and gets what she wants. That is the course. We have a whole section on self talk, on changing your self talk, and we deep dive into every stage of not only what to do with if you're, at this stage or this stage of your self talk, but how to better the skills that go into self talk so that you can become someone who is literally just so on top of their self talk, so positive, so confident, and therefore goes after and creates what you want. So let's get into it. Defining self talk. Let's just be so abundantly clear here. Your self talk is the core of everything. There is no way around it. And you're just being on this episode, you're about to get real comfy with it. Here's how I think about self talk it's not just the way that you talk to yourself or how you think about yourself. Your self talk isn't just the way that you think about yourself. It's not just the way you talk to yourself or the monologue running through your mind. It is those things, but it's the inner voice of literally how you are perceiving yourself, how you're perceiving the world around you, how you're perceiving different situations and environments. The reason it is so difficult to change our self talk is because it is completely shaped by, yes, our conscious thoughts that we literally hear ourselves thinking or saying, but also our unconscious beliefs, our biases, the ideas that come from childhood or traumas or our past. And I think self talk, just as a whole, is a way to provide our brain a way to pretty much interpret and process and make sense of the world around us minute after minute, second after second. So, yes, it is the way you think about yourself. It is how you talk to yourself in different instances. But I literally think it is making up your entire world. And when you change it to basically your self talk, here, this is what I'll say, and you'll hear me say this again. Your self talk is so subjective because it's just opinions that you literally are constantly having, but it also makes up your reality. And so that's why it matters, is because it's affecting every decision you do or don't make. It is affecting how you see yourself, which again affects everything. It affects how you see the world, how you think about the world, and therefore how you feel about each and every little circumstance in the world. It affects the actions you do or you don't take and the results that you have in your life. It affects everything, which is why in Audacious we get you so unrecognizable with your self talk. I'm a big believer that changing your self talk is the solution to many of our day to day problems. So, for example, if your partner isn't meeting all your needs and giving you that kind of princess treatment that you're really wanting, you don't have the kind of, life changing sex that you want, that which we coach on, by the way, in Audacious. Self talk is wrapped up in that somewhere. Maybe you don't think you deserve better. Maybe you have an unconscious bias that it's safer to be a people pleaser, so you're just playing out that role in the relationship. I don't know, I'm just giving you examples, but I know personally, I stayed in an old relationship way too long, basically like the entire relationship too long, because I had the subtle belief that I couldn't find better. That was self-talk going in my head, so I stayed. And if I had higher self-worth or self-image back then, I could have made different decisions. Or maybe you're not making the kinds of money you want and you feel like you're slowly dying in your 9 to 5. Maybe it's because you didn't post the TikTok back in 2020 like you wanted to because you told yourself people would judge you. That's self-talk. Maybe it's because you're terrified of failing because what would that mean about you? And you constantly talk yourself out of going big in your business, for example. Maybe you have beliefs that you're not someone who earns the kinds of money that you want. That's self-image, that's self-talk. It's all the same. So I just want to show you how it really, really affects things. If you're just not generally as confident, happy, fulfilled with your life as you want to be, it is very likely stemming from the way that you see yourself, the decisions you're making. I'm talking big life altering decisions like where to live or what jobs to apply to or whether to start the business or whether to, I don't know, start the TikTok, but also the little day to day decisions that change how you feel. For example, are you sticking to the morning routine that you know will help you? Going after opportunities, you know what I mean? Things like that. So I want you to play with the idea that your entire life is being shaped by your self talk. And I want to say too, I just want to acknowledge, I think it's always important. Yes, we are all born into very different privilege levels and circumstances, and I will never argue that. What I'm saying here is more the idea that we are capable of creating more for ourselves moving forward, depending on the beliefs and perceptions that we choose to have about ourselves in the world. It's half full versus it's half empty, counting yourself in versus counting yourself out. It's the difference of you living a life that you're occasionally happy and fulfilled in versus absolutely head over heels in love with your life. Self talk matters. That's why it matters. Who you are today, the life you have, is a result of what you will continually do or not do from your self talk. Change your self talk, change your life. Okay. So let's kind of go through the basic path that I teach in Unlimited to becoming unrecognizably confident. The first thing that will have to happen, and this is so cyclical the way I teach this in Audacious. It's a cycle you're going to run again and again and again. And I'm actually, with how I run my own self talk cycle, I'm back at stage 0, which is a fun place to be, I would say. But the first stage, the stage 0, is you literally just have to become aware of your self talk. And you know what? You can find that pasted across Google when you search self-talk. It's basically all going to tell you how to become, you have to become aware of your self-talk, but it never tells you how. It literally never tells you how. It just tells you that you need to be aware of the things that you say in your brain, but it doesn't tell you how. And so in Audacious, I tell you exactly how. I'm just going to give you a couple here, but I have a whole library of things in Audacious, so you can kind of pick and choose which one you want or which one feels good to you, because some you'll be great at and some you're just not going to be able to tap into as much. The first question that you can sit with just to get the self-perception of yourself is, for example, after you make a mistake, don't hit a goal, embarrass yourself, get something wrong, what thoughts do you have? What do you say to yourself? How does your perception about yourself shift? It can be simple as that. Another thing that you can do is throughout the day, just check in with your mood. If your mood is literally anything other than neutral or above, which, is going to happen. What thoughts are causing you to feel good, happy, angry, upset, frustrated, annoyed, whatever it is? What are the thoughts? What did you think about? What is something that literally, a sentence that crossed your mind that made you less than neutral? Or what's something that crossed your mind that made you happy? And if something happened in your day that did shake you, what was it about that thing or event or circumstance? What did you think about it? It's just starting to get clear on those beliefs and biases and thoughts behind what you're feeling rather than just blindly going through your day and shifting moods. And then I'm just giving you the simple ones. I have a lot of somatic exercises in Audacious as well, but it's hard to do over a podcast. So I'll just keep giving you the basic ones. But something that you could even do is just go through your day and ask yourself periodically, what do I think about this? Like, what do I think about the fact that I'm recording a podcast right now? Okay, what the thought that immediately comes up is like, oh, I'm really, really proud of myself for doing this, right? That's a self-talk thing. Or is a thought that comes up something like, you're doing a bad job and like, oh, this isn't good enough. And I feel like I have so many mistakes. Like, do you know what I mean? So those are some ways, but I have a whole library in Audacious on how to actually become aware of your self-talk. And you know what? So many people are like, I'm super aware of my self-talk. I'm so aware of my self-talk. And then they come in my containers and they're like, oh shit. I was kind of aware, but I wasn't as aware as I realized that I needed to be and could have been. And so that's also why this is such a cyclical process and why I'm back at stage 0 of this, of becoming more aware of my self talk, is because you can keep digging down to the unconscious beliefs and biases and all these things. And it's why I have everyone start at this stage, because almost every single client who goes through this comes back to me and is like, oh, there's more. I didn't realize I was thinking that. I didn't realize I was saying that. Everything makes so much more sense now. So you should definitely get an audacious and manage this skill, because this basic skill is going to set you up for the other skill. So that is stage 1. The second stage, people want, or stage 1, I guess, because I'm saying stage 0. Stage 1 is realizing that your thoughts are not the truth. No matter how deeply rooted, believable, impossible, and true a thought might feel, they're not. And again, this is the stage that everyone wants to skip. But I am telling you, like, I am very confident. I run a whole business off this. I make I make all my money on this. And I still get to this stage and I'm like, no, no, no. I know my thoughts aren't truth. But then I do the exercises that I give in Audacious and I'm like, oh, fudge. I've been treating so many things as truth still. And so this is the stage everyone wants to pass over to. It's the first stage 0, stage 1. But these ones are so important. We're not realizing how much better and better and better we can always be evolving with this. So this whole stage is realizing that your self-talk isn't truth, but it's making up your reality. And it's so funny because our self-talk is literally all of it. All of it is subjective. We do not think in facts. There's very, very, very few objective facts included in our self-talk. The whole basis of self-talk is subjective. And so this whole stage is about just realizing how subjective everything is. So if you're having, and this is more skewing negative, let's say, but it's not truth that you don't look pretty today. It is not truth that so and so doesn't like you. It's not true that you're not meeting all your expectations. It's not true that this person is significantly better at you and has it easier. It's not true that you're not making the most out of your life, or whatever is coming up for you. There are so many thoughts that we have throughout the day that just aren't true. And even in instances where you're like, no, this is true. Like what I always tell my clients is like, fine, it's true. It's true. But is that a truth you want to keep fighting for? And that's what this whole stage is about, is recognizing and catching all. Now that you did stage 0 where you catch the thoughts, this first stage is really about asking yourself, okay, I noticed that's a thought. That's something that I'm thinking. Do I want to keep this truth? Do I want to fight to keep this truth, or do I want to fight to instill and embody more supportive beliefs and self-talk, not the ones that keep me small? And so that second stage is all about that. And woo, that stage 0 and stage 1 clean people right up. I am telling you, if you just watch these 2 videos in Audacious, that alone gets people unrecognizably confident. I even had a client today reach out and be like, this whole thing of like literally stage 0, stage 1 is changing my life, changing every little bit of my life. And it's because we think we're so good at this. We really do believe we're so good at this. And even I've run this process with myself so many times and I think I'm so good at it. But then I go back through and I'm like, oh, I wasn't catching that thought before. Or, oh, I keep treating this as truth. So that's stage 0 and stage 1. This next stage, stage 2, is all about changing frequencies to change your identity. That's what I like calling it. So now that you are aware of your self talk and now that you've started to actively choose to see it not as truth, this stage is all about catching how often you are treating yourself in a way that you don't want, that are not supportive to the stories and the reality that you want, and to start interjecting a new frequency. Here's the thing. We often, when we try and do self talk, we will try and jump up and say something way nicer to ourselves. And then when it's not believable, we fall back down. If that's naturally what we like to do as humans, which it is, we all like to try and jump from 0 to 100. I actually say in this stage, use that to your advantage. So when you notice yourself say something that is, I don't know, like let's say you woke up and you're like, oh, I woke up late and now I'm behind, which yes, this is also self-talk. I want you to jump up to that insanely high frequency and say, I got as much sleep as I needed, and this is going to be such a good day. Now, here's the difference in this stage is that where we usually fall short is we try and believe that. And of course, we don't. But what I teach is that I actually want you to actively just insert that. And it's okay if you don't believe it. You don't have to believe it yet. The reason that I do this is because the point at this point in the stage is not for it to be believable. I don't expect you to believe it. The point is I want you to start giving your subconscious, giving your brain a higher frequency. Because when you all week long start interjecting this really high frequency, even if you have that thought, that high frequency thought, and then go into, oh, this, I just don't believe that. You are talking to yourself in such a different frequency that you will start noticing more and more when you have the unsupportive self-talk. So that is literally the point of this stage. So this is like stage 2A, right? That's the second stage. The next stage that I have people do is start to, instead of jump up from 0 to 100, I want you to jump up from that 0 to like a 5, 0 to a 10, that small shift. Because now that you've jumped up to the really high frequency and you don't believe it, I just want you to jump up and make that believable. And so if you're like, oh, I woke up late and now I'm behind, a smaller jump on that next stage might be something like, I can turn this day around. It's fine. And that sort of small gradual shifts is what really takes people to the next level. And so at this point in the self-talk journey, and I know I'm going fast with this, but it's, again, there's so many videos on this in Audacious. We make it so easy. Is you're now aware of your self-talk. You know it's not truth. You've started interjecting really high frequency things, and you're starting to notice more and more and more at this point when you're negative self-talking. And now that we're at this stage where we're getting to the gradual little shifts, which is what, stage 3, I think technically. I don't think I announced that next one. Now that you've taken that high frequency and you're noticing the difference, this whole next stage is now that you're noticing it so much more, you can do the gradual shifts. They start to feel more believable because you literally were jumping radically before, and your nervous system is already going to be on board with it. This is where people start to see insane growth with their self-talk. It is where they start to make such different decisions, where they start to put themselves out there more, they start to go bigger, they start to be kinder to themselves, they start to celebrate more. It's so powerful in this stage. The next stage, we have 2 more stages. The fourth stage is to raise how you feel about yourself overall, both in good times and in bad. So what this stage is all about is celebrating yourself more in the good times. Be louder, be prouder, be kinder to yourself, celebrate all the small wins. And then on the tough days, you're just going to maintain the kindness. You're not going to flip the switch on yourself like you're probably very used to doing. This stage is so much, this is not the good stage. I like this stage. I think this stage is literally just the best because you're constantly raising how you feel about yourself. And I tell people to spend the most amount of time in this stage. I want them to get better and better and better and basically just keep amping up how kind you are to yourself until instead of going from like 0 to 100, it feels like you're at 100. And then the next thing that we do is do it all over again. Like, you're going to grow so much in your self-talk at this point that you're going to realize, and this is why I say I redo it and I'm on stage 0 right now, is because I'm going to realize that, oh, okay, I need to become even more self-aware of the self-talk. Now that I'm really kind to myself, I can be kinder. And there's some things that I'm treating as truth that literally just aren't truth. There are more empowering ways to talk to myself, to see the world, that will create more and more of my reality. I'm going to interject even stronger frequency. I'm going to up how I celebrate myself, how I treat myself in the lows, and make the time that I change the self-talk to something more supportive even faster. This is how I teach self-talk in Audacious. And my God, it's powerful when you have every little bit, when you have every video. We have, I think it's like 6 videos all outlining this and activities, and you spend at least a week in each stage. You are never going to treat yourself poorly again. You are completely going to change how you feel about yourself. You are completely going to change how you see about yourself, how much you put yourself out in the world, what you do, go after, and literally your entire reality. That is the power of Audacious. And the funny part is this is just one little subsection of videos. Like, it is such a big course, and not in a daunting way, but in a way of you can binge that and binge it over and over and over. My clients are obsessed with Audacious. They they listen to it constantly, and they are all literally unrecognizably confident in going after things that they never would have gone after before. They're living lives that they never would have had without becoming unrecognizably confident through Audacious. Hopefully this episode helped. If you'd like to join Audacious, you can find more info in the show notes. I'll link the sales page there. It is 10 plus hours of videos for you to binge and re-binge and work through again and again and again to keep becoming more unrecognizably confident and go after all that you really want. We also have a community where you can go in, you can ask confidence questions, and really just talk to everyone else there. And then finally, my favorite part, honestly, is the monthly confidence Q&A calls. And so every single month, you can hop on a call with me and I will go through any confidence questions that you have. We repost it, and it just ends up being this huge vault of confidence calls that you can listen to, binge, and get all your questions answered. And those have just been so much fun. And you get those for life. So you get lifetime access to Audacious. So once you join, you never have to do anything else. You get to binge. We will constantly be adding videos, it'll always be expanding. And you literally get those monthly confidence calls for life. We're never going to take them away from you. And so I'm really excited. I hope you join Audacious because you deserve to be unrecognizably confident, have such different self talk, and you will be so amazed by how much can change when your self talk changes. I'll catch you in the next episode.